Hello, and welcome back to Bizarre Bureau. Imagine a book so massive it takes two people just to lift it. A book nearly 3 feet tall, made from the skins of 160 animals. But its size isn't the most shocking thing about it. Legend says this entire manuscript, all 620 pages, was written in a single night with help from the devil himself. This is the story of the Codex Gigas, the Devil's Bible. Are you ready to uncover the truth behind one of history's most mysterious and intimidating books? Let's dive in. The year is 1230, deep within a Benedictine monastery in what is now the Czech Republic. A monk named Herman the Recluse commits a grave sin, breaking his sacred vows. His punishment? To be walled up alive, left to slowly perish. Terrified, Herman makes a desperate plea. He promises the abbot that if his life is spared, he will create a magnificent book, a codex containing all human knowledge, and he will complete it in just one night. A seemingly impossible task. The abbot, perhaps amused or skeptical, agrees. As the sun sets, Herman begins his monumental work. He gathers his vellum, his inks, his quills. The hours tick by. Midnight approaches, and the monk realizes the futility of his promise. He's barely made a dent in the massive volume. Despair washes over him. He knows he cannot finish it alone. So in his darkest hour, he makes another pact, a far more dangerous one. He summons the devil. According to the legend, the devil appears before the desperate monk. Herman offers his soul in exchange for the completion of the book by sunrise. The deal is struck. The devil, with supernatural speed and skill, finishes the codex in the blink of an eye. As a final chilling signature, the Prince of Darkness adds a full-page, terrifying self-portrait within its pages. And in gratitude, or perhaps as a mark of their unholy alliance, Herman adds the devil's image himself. When the abbot checks on the monk in the morning, he finds the task complete, the gargantuan book lying finished, and Herman, alive but with his soul forever forfeit. This dramatic tale is how the Codex Gigas earned its sinister nickname, the Devil's Bible. But is there any truth to this legend? Or is it just a medieval ghost story designed to explain the inexplicable? To find out, we need to look beyond the folklore and examine the book itself. Today, the Codex Gigas resides in the National Library of Sweden in Stockholm, where it's kept in a climate-controlled case. It truly is a giant. Measuring 36 inches tall, 20 inches wide, and nearly 9 inches thick, it weighs a staggering 165 pounds. Modern analysis confirms it's made from the vellum of over 160 donkeys. Just preparing the materials would have been a colossal undertaking, let alone writing and illustrating it. The contents are just as impressive as its size. It's not just a Bible. It contains the complete Latin Vulgate Bible, but also a vast collection of other important texts. Inside, you'll find Josephus's Antiquities of the Jews, Isidore of Seville S., Etymologia, an encyclopedia of the time, a collection of medical works, a calendar, a list of monks in the monastery, and even a section on magical spells and exorcism rites. It was a complete library in a single binding, a medieval Google of sorts. The sheer ambition of compiling all this knowledge is breathtaking. The entire book is written in a single, remarkably consistent script. The handwriting, a style known as Carolingian minuscule, is so uniform from the first page to the last that it has led experts to a startling conclusion. The Codex Gigas was indeed written by a single scribe. The consistency is almost superhuman. There are no signs of aging, fatigue, or changes in style that you would expect from a project spanning many years. This incredible uniformity is what likely fueled the legend of its single-night creation. How could one person maintain such perfection over a long period? This brings us back to the central mystery. Could one person have really written this? Modern analysis provides a more realistic, yet still incredible timeline. Experts estimate that it would have taken a single scribe, working continuously without a break, at least 5 years to write the text alone. That means no sleeping, no eating, just writing. A more realistic estimate, factoring in the intricate illustrations, the ruling of the pages, and the normal pace of a medieval monk's life suggest the project would have taken between 20 and 30 years to complete. Imagine the dedication. A lifetime's work poured into one single object. This wasn't a punishment. It was a devotion, a monumental act of faith. The scribe, likely Herman the Recluse as the record suggests, would have dedicated his entire adult life to this single creation. It's a testament to incredible patience, skill, and piety, a far cry from the desperate, soul-selling monk of legend. So, where did the legend come from? It likely arose over time, as people struggled to comprehend the sheer scale and perfection of the work. It's easier to attribute something so extraordinary to supernatural intervention than to simple, albeit obsessive, human dedication. The name Herman the Recluse itself might offer a clue. A recluse was a monk who voluntarily chose a life of solitude and prayer, often in a small sealed cell. Perhaps Herman undertook this mammoth task as a form of intense spiritual devotion during his seclusion, leading to the later twisted story of being walled up as punishment. And what about that infamous portrait of the devil? On page 290, there it is, a large, half-human, half-beast figure about 19 inches tall. He is depicted alone in an empty landscape, crouching with his arms raised. He has horns, a green face, a forked tongue, and wears an ermine loincloth, a symbol of royalty. It's a powerful and unsettling image, unlike anything else in medieval manuscript art. Its placement is also significant. It faces a full-page illustration of the heavenly city. The two pages create a stark contrast. The kingdom of God versus the domain of the devil. Good versus evil, salvation versus damnation. This juxtaposition suggests the portrait wasn't a tribute to the devil, but a warning. It was a medieval reminder of the reality of sin and temptation. In a world where faith was everything, visualizing the enemy was a powerful tool. The monk who drew it wasn't glorifying the devil. He was illustrating the eternal struggle of the human soul. The magical formulas and exorcism rites included nearby further support this idea. The book provided the knowledge to understand evil and the tools to combat it. It wasn't a pact with the devil, but a manual on how to defeat him. The history of the book itself is as dramatic as its legend. After centuries in its home monastery, it was seized as war loot by the Swedish army during the 30 Years' War in 1648 and taken to Stockholm. A year later, it nearly met its end. A fire broke out in the royal castle. To save the precious manuscript from the flames, it was thrown out of a window. A book weighing 165 pounds, thrown from a high window. Miraculously, it survived, though it sustained some damage and lost several pages in the process. These missing pages have fueled endless speculation. What did they contain? Were they the most secret parts of the monk's pact? We'll likely never know, adding another layer of mystery to the Codex. So, the Codex Gigas isn't a cursed object written by Satan. It's the life's work of a single, incredibly devoted monk. It's a masterpiece of medieval craftsmanship and a symbol of immense human dedication. The legend of the devil is a fascinating story, but the true story of the scribe who spent decades painstakingly creating this giant of a book is, in many ways, even more remarkable. It reminds us that sometimes human willpower and devotion can produce results so extraordinary, they seem supernatural. What do you think? Is the scientific explanation more impressive than the legend? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. The story of the Codex Gigas shows us how history and folklore can weave together to create something truly unforgettable. Thanks for joining us on this journey at Bizarre Bureau. If you enjoyed unraveling this mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the world's most fascinating enigmas. See you next time.